opinions here. First of all, Brandon, it seems to me that if there were more people masterful of the rules of order, that it would be you would have less chance of being run roughshod over. Secondly, and I think the important point that Steve made in the earlier part of the show is that if you know the rules, not only can you be more effective within the convention itself, but you will know how to garner and how to utilize ammunition in civil action afterward if you really get ramrodded. Are both of those things sensible, Steve?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just about educating yourself. You know, it's kind of like this, Cindy, and I'll use this as an example because a lot of people can understand it. Let's take the game of Monopoly, for example. Some people play that if you land on free parking, you get $500. But if you look at the official rule book, there's nothing in the rules to state that. Some people play that you can put multiple hotels on a property. But if you look at the official rule book, that's actually not allowed.
Right.
You know, so it's really just a matter of learning and understanding what you can and can't do.
Mm-hmm. And that, of course, is not available in Robert's Rules of Order. That's available in your local Republican bylaws, correct?
Well, the fact is rules of order are absolute. You know,
okay,
rules of order is
right, but I mean in terms. Okay, right. I beg your pardon. In terms of the procedures of the meeting, if the Robert's Rules of Order have been adopted, and apparently they have been adopted by the National Convention, then those are absolute. But the actual procedures, and not the rules of order necessarily, but what am I saying here?
Of the party?
Yeah, the platform and so on like that will be determined, and can't even some of the procedures or positions, and I guess that is the platform. Those are all determined locally. But as I learned from you the last time you were on the show, those can be scratched and redone every time, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you had enough people to vote on it, you could literally throw out your old bylaws and submit a whole new set of bylaws. But, you know, people keep in mind, anything that you wish to amend or any motion you wish to bring forth, it must be submitted in writing. You can't just make this stuff up as you go along. You need to be pre-prepared before you go in.
Does length matter, Steve? Does length matter? Because, again, they kept emphasizing we need this stuff short. You need it short and compact.
Short in what? In your motions?
Yeah, as far as anything, what I kept getting was anything you submit as far as resolutions, motions, anything, keep it short, sweet, compact. We don't have enough time because there's so many.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's what I meant, your resolutions. No, Brandon, that's a blatant lie.
Okay.
The more that's in your resolution, now you need to keep in mind that whatever, sentences you have in your resolutions must apply to that specific resolution.
Yeah.
But the more that you actually have in it, the stronger it becomes.
Okay.
Because the less you have, the more it can be amended. And that's what you don't want to happen. You don't want to come in there with a resolution that has 2 lines in it and it gets completely amended. The more you have in it, the less chance you have of it being defeated and being completely amended.
Okay. Just checking.
And whoever told you that is wrong. That's not true.
Cool.
All right.
Okay, now there's about 4 minutes left. I'm going to give it back to you, Steve, because if there was a point you didn't get to complete on or a point that you wanted to bring up in the course of the show and didn't have a chance to do that, please do so now.
Okay. Make sure that in the beginning, when your convention starts, that an agenda is set. Now, for those of you that don't want to know what an agenda is, that's basically how things are going to be laid out for the entire convention. Now, if they just try to start nonchalantly, see, you want to know what your agenda is so you know what you're working with. So you can interrupt at any time, and you can interrupt anybody that has the floor with this. And this is what you need to do. You need to rise, and any time you rise, you immediately need to address the speaker and state your name. And this is what I want you to say. I rise to a question of privilege affecting the assembly. And the chairman will ask you, what is your point of order? And your point of order would be, is anybody writing this down? If you're not writing it down, then you need to get it. Okay, we'll get it. what I want you to say is, I call for the orders of the day. And that means that they will have to put forth the agenda that has already been preset.
I got the part, I rise to a question of privilege, and then I lost it after that. I rise to a question of privilege.
I rise to a question of privilege affecting the assembly.
Okay.
Then the chairman will say, what is your point of order? And your answer should be, I call for the orders of the day.
All right. What in the world are the orders of the day? 2 minutes left.
That's the agenda. That is basically the agenda that has been preset. And see, again, Andy, this is why it's so important to understand this language. You know, orders of the day means the agenda that's supposed to take place at your meeting.
Right.
But if you don't know that language, you're going to be ignored. Okay, one other important factor, because we're going to have to go over this again another time, Andy, is when you want to address the floor, raising your hand means nothing. You must stand and be recognized by the chair. You can raise your hand all day. It doesn't matter.
All right. Right now, standing is Roy in Indiana. Roy, you're always be brief. Be brief now.
Yes. Whatever we do in these meetings, it doesn't matter as long as it's constitutional. Just exactly what Ron Paul would do. If it's constitutional, it's yay. If it's non-constitutional, it's Dr. No.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Steve, we've got 1 minute left. Wrap them.
Okay. Well, you know, again, people, it's up to you to make the difference. You're the only ones that can do it. Again, America was left to the people, not the government. And if you're not going to be part of the solution to bringing America back to its roots and where it never should have left in the first place, then you're part of the problem. And our founders, as Dr. Paul would say, would be ashamed of us for what we're putting up with. Because we have failed them. We have failed them as Americans to protect what they fought and died for. And shame on us for that. So this is your chance, people. Get out, register to become a delegate, get involved, okay, and make a difference. I'll leave it at that, Andy.
All right. I want to thank you for being with us. It's a pleasure to have you. We will have you again soon. I'll have the producers get with you. We'll create a schedule. Brandon Gray, thank you very much for your participation also. I want to acknowledge you for being a leader and for going out and getting your hands dirty, for getting the experience that is so necessary for us to do this, for us to take back America through the constitutional process, which is the parliamentary process. And there are rules, folks. There's a rule of law. And for the upcoming conventions, they've been designated, or the Republican convention designated Robert's Rules of Order. Animal Farm is next. Those guys are hot. Don't go away. Bye. See you tomorrow.
Welcome to the Ron Paul Revolution. You are a part of history in the making. Ron Paul Revolution Radio. Ron Paul Revolution Radio. Ron Paul Revolution Radio. RPRradio.com is America's ultimate source of news, information, and all things Ron Paul. You don't have to be a spectator anymore, as the mainstream media puts forth their hand-picked corporate candidates who truly don't have your best interest in mind. Ron Paul Revolution Radio is your meeting place to support Ron Paul's fight to stop the illegal war, the national ID card, and the blatant destruction of your constitutional rights. Visit our website at rprradio.com for the latest Ron Paul campaign information, videos, and live breaking news. Tell everyone you know to go to rprradio.com. Ron Paul Revolution Radio.
Who is Ron Paul, the Republican candidate for president? Ron Paul served his country as a flight surgeon after the Cuban Missile Crisis. As a young doctor, Ron Paul worked nights in the emergency room of an inner-city hospital, taking care of everyone, whether they could pay or not. As an OBGYN, Ron Paul delivered over 4,000 babies. Dr. Ron Paul knows our healthcare system needs real change, where patients and doctors are in charge, not big corporations or government bureaucrats. As a congressman for almost 2 decades,